We're sisters, best friends, and authors on a mission to help you stoke your creative fire and live the life of your dreams. We believe that purpose fuels passion and that creativity is your secret weapon for mass construction. There's never been a better time to bless the world with your dream realized. You're listening to The Kate and Abbie Show. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of The Kate and Abbie Show. Today we're talking about how to gain confidence in your own writing. This is a hot topic. I feel like we could talk about this one forever, and we have several episodes already on gaining confidence, but we always have something new to bring to the table when it comes to having confidence in your writing, having the confidence to pursue the art and the craft and the career of writing, and to take yourself seriously so that you can put yourself out there in the world with confidence, with boldness, with a bold attitude of, I got this and I have something worth sharing. I have something that other people want to read and partake in, something that's going to matter to other people. And so gaining that attitude and that mental perspective, having a healthy mindset going into your writing career or your writing practice, if it's not your career yet, is so important. This is such an important topic. So that's what we're diving into today. Some fresh thoughts, some new perspective on this topic. So stick around. This episode is for you if you are ever doubting yourself or feeling like you need to gain confidence in your writing. Before we get started, we have to thank our sponsors, who are you. You're the ones who support this show. Keep it going because you are our patrons. Thank you so much to our patrons who support this show. And if you get value out of this podcast, you know what to do. Go to patreon.com/The Kate and Abbie Show and help us keep this show alive and free of interruptions. Okay, let's get into it. Gaining confidence in your writing.
Easier said than done.
Yep.
It can often seem like, you know what, I feel like I'll never be confident in my craft. But that's not true. It's all just a journey. And that's the thing to remember, even when you don't feel like it. Remind yourself, this is a journey.
You won't always feel like this.
You won't always feel like this. It's going to be a process just like anything else. And as you continue to do it, you're going to get better and better. I think the main number one thing that can help you to really gain confidence is to find your why. Find the reason why you're doing this. Find the reason why this matters to you.
Yeah. Why are you doing it?
Right.
Why is it just to impress somebody else so that someone's like, whoa, you're a great writer? Because if you're seeking that, then that's the wrong reason.
Right. Exactly.
Like everybody wants to be told that,
right.
Obviously.
That can come, but that shouldn't be the root.
Yes.
That can come.
You should have to write because you literally can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Like you need to write.
Right.
It's just spilling out of you. Inspiration strikes you and you have to write. And I think a lot of us feel that way.
Yeah, I agree. I see so many authors who feel that way. And for those of you who might feel like, well, I do this more from a business perspective and I don't necessarily feel like it's the only thing it's not necessarily like, oh, I have to do this because I can't do anything else. And even then, it's still stemming from a place of, I've chosen this. You know what I mean? I've chosen this. And so that's sacred in and of itself. Your reason doesn't have to be the same reason as every other author out there. I think every author has a different reason. There are a ton of passionate artists out there who are doing things because it feels like it's just bubbling up inside of them. But even if you feel like you're doing it for a different reason, that's okay. There's no rule here to why you need to be writing a book. So realize what your reason is. Find your reason. It doesn't have to be one particular reason. It just needs to be your reason, and it has to be known to you.
It has to matter to you.
It has to matter to you. Because otherwise it will fizzle out over time.
Yeah. You won't just lose confidence in it, but you will lose interest in it. It won't be...
The momentum won't last.
Yeah. You won't have the endurance to see it through because it won't be something that you are in love with.
Right.
It won't be something you're passionate about. Those things have to be there, I think.
I agree with that.
The passion. And even if you're doing it for more of a business perspective, like this is my work, and even if you look at it more from that perspective, you're still passionate about it, because there are a lot of other things you could do for work, arguably much easier things.
Exactly.
Writing is definitely not
easy. So there
is
some sort of passion brought you here.
Yes, so true. And so tapping into that passion, figuring that out, and not necessarily looking to the external things for that. Like, get quiet with yourself, journal, do some introspecting and meditation, and think about what is your personal reason for being here, and why does it personally matter to you? Why is this something that you personally need? Because it will be different for everybody. And I think that's where the self-doubt comes in a lot, is looking at other writers and comparing ourselves to them and thinking, oh, I'll never be as good as that person, or I'll never write a best-selling novel like so-and-so, or I'll never be as iconic as that author, which is just a terrible way to look at anything.
Right.
It is. Like we've said in the past, I know I've said this before on the show, is those people who you look up to and respect for their writing or whatever it is they do, those people should be inspirations to you. They shouldn't cause you to lose confidence or doubt yourself. They should be beacons of light shining forth from your bright future to show you that, hey, that's possible for me too.
Right.
Because a lot of times those success stories, if you go back far enough, that author was not in a good place at some point in their life. They probably doubted themselves a lot, and they probably were going through some hard times. So you can't look at, I always love that quote that goes something like, don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20.
Yeah.
I don't know who said that originally, but it's such a great quote because it's so true.
Right.
And so often we look at someone's chapter 20 and we're on chapter 1 and we're like, why doesn't it look the same? It's like,
right.
Well, maybe your chapter 20 will look like that, or maybe even better than that.
Exactly. And another thing to remember on a deeper level is the more you celebrate the journeys of others and what is possible for them, what they have created, the more you're drawing that same wonderful energy into your own life, into your own journey. So don't allow something good you see happening to someone else become an affirmation of your own inability to do that. Let it be a beacon of light to you that you can celebrate and draw into your own life through that joy and celebration. Celebrate with those people.
Yes. The kind of attitude that you put out definitely comes back to you.
Yes.
And that's one of the beautiful things about life.
Exactly. It is very true. The next thing is to write. So keep writing. One of the best things you can do to build confidence in your own craft is to continue doing it. Like with anything, the more you do it, the more confident you'll become in that practice.
Yeah, so true. I was thinking about that the other day when I was recording a VIP podcast for my patrons. And one of the questions I got was something along the lines of writing style. And I was speaking on writing style and finding your writing style and how it's really a time thing and it comes through practice. And I used the analogy of singing because that was something that if you guys don't know, I kind of do a little bit of singing and music on the side just for fun. And I've never taken professional singing lessons of any kind. I've just done it because I like singing. And I've found that the most improvement and the most skill I've ever been able to cultivate for myself has come through practicing what I love. Even if the first time I sang a particular song, it sounded awful, and I thought, oh, I can't sing this song. A lot of people stop there and they think, okay, I can't sing that song. I'm like, I'm not going to sing that again. I hated the way I sounded. I see that so often, and it's, for me, I thought, like, no, I still love singing that song. I enjoy the feeling of singing it, even if I don't enjoy the sound of it, the sound of my own voice yet. And so I would continue to sing that song over and over and over again, whatever the case may be. I'm thinking like of a few different favorites of mine. And eventually I got to the point where I could confidently sing those songs and feel like my voice is good. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a technically perfect professional singer. Absolutely not. But I gained confidence in singing those songs because I just sang them over and over and over again and enjoyed the process of it. No judgment, just enjoying the act of the practice. And that, I feel, is also with writing, at least in my own experience, I've felt the same way with writing. And that as long as I'm enjoying this, the practice is what is giving me the skill. You know, it's not like I have to go learn about how to have skills in order to be confident and then I can write something I'm confident in. No, the confidence comes from practice.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because that's something only you can make happen. No one else can give you experience except you doing it over and over and over again. And just like you were saying with the singing, even if it feels like, oh, this feels terrible the first time or the second time or the 50th time, just keep going. And we did an episode about grit, which I will link below in the video version of this podcast. But that's so important to have for this, because grit is what will get you through the over and over and over again process that it takes to build experience, which in turn will make you a more confident writer. You have to press through those uncomfortable patches to gain experience. And there may even be things you write that no one will ever see but you, and that's okay, because that's part of the process. And if you're having joy in your journey, if you're finding fulfillment through this act of writing, it shouldn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because those are all important steps in the journey of gaining confidence. Yeah. So having the grit, having the endurance to keep doing it, even when it feels like, oh, this might be pointless, that's usually the moment right before you start to find, wow, yeah, this is so right. I am doing this for a reason. That's why it's important to remember why you're doing it, and then to keep doing it over and over and over and over again. Next is to accept that it's a learning process and that you don't have to be perfect and you are getting better every day. This tags on perfectly to what we were just talking about, because you will get better each time you write. Literally each time you write, you get incrementally better. And I've thought about this a lot because it's interesting to think about publishing books, and then years later, your writing is going to be further evolved, and it's almost scary because it's like, well, I would have done that differently. And yes, you would have. And it's okay, because all of it's part of that process.
Yeah.
Like reading back through something you published a couple of years ago, and you're like, oh, I would have changed that. I would have said that differently. Yeah,
but it was important that you put it out there, you know,
right,
and that you have the confidence to do that. Because if you do that to everything, then you'll never publish anything.
Right, exactly. You know? Like that quote that says, art isn't finished, it's simply abandoned, or something like that. That's very true, because you can change something forever. That process can go on ad infinitum, and it's important to make sure that you don't get caught in that trap, because it's a counterproductive trap. It will keep you from producing things that you should be letting out into the world. Nothing has to be perfect. Perfect is subjective.
Yeah.
Perfect is a man-made word that we use to try to describe a concept that is different per person. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So true. And confidence in and of itself for anything requires a certain level of vulnerability. And being able to put yourself out there and say, I'm okay with this. In fact, I'm proud of this. Whatever it may be, even if it's not a piece of writing, even if it's just, you know, putting yourself out there, making a speech somewhere, you know, public speaking, or having a podcast, or having a YouTube channel. I mean, there are videos on my YouTube channel that are like years and years old that I'm like, I would have done so many things differently in that video. You know, the lighting's bad, the editing's bad, my makeup is bad, you know, things like that. And I don't, you know, I wouldn't take those videos down because I was proud of them at the time, and they still have quality content. You know, the actual content of it, quality content. I said that so smugly.
I love it.
I didn't mean to, but, you know, I probably border, as the way my personality is, I probably border more on being smug than being insecure at this point. But like,
it's good to be smug.
Yeah, I would
Sometimes
rather
you need a little pinch of smug just for you. just for yourself.
Yeah, like, your friends, your real friends will know how you really are. They'll know that you're not really, you're not self-satisfied, but you should be self-satisfied to some degree.
Yeah.
Because not putting anyone else down, but
you don't want to be deprecating.
Yes.
You don't want to be saying things to yourself, even when you're by yourself. I suck as a writer. My writing is awful. I'm never going to finish this book. Your body and soul and spirit are listening to what you have to say.
Yes.
So don't tell them lies. Don't tell them things that you don't want to see manifest in your life. So a little bit of self-confidence, even if it feels excessive, have a little fun with it. Be playful. Get in front of a mirror and tell yourself you're the greatest author ever. There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah. Let yourself express confidence the way you need to, even if you laugh afterwards. It's all good.
Yeah.
It all sparks some joy, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yes. It's not egotistical to talk yourself up to yourself. It's important.
Or even to others.
Yeah.
Or like, even if you're being sarcastic at first, okay? Even if you're saying it kind of ironically. Let's say you wrote a sentence that was actually literally awful, and you read it, instead of saying, oh, so awful, that was such a badly written sentence, or that was such a badly written scene. Instead of saying that, say, that was a Pulitzer Prize winning sentence right there. that scene, oh my gosh, that was like the best scene ever, wasn't it? That was so well written. That would put J.K. Rowling to shame. Like, literally be so sarcastic with it that you're kind of joking, of course, saying this because it's bad, but you're being sarcastic saying that it's good, right?
Yeah.
Like, to this extreme level. But then someday you won't be sarcastic with it.
Right, exactly.
You'll find yourself complimenting your writing that's actually good, and you'll realize, wow, I have improved as a writer, and I've improved in my self-talk as well.
Be playful about it.
Yeah.
Don't be rigid and hard on yourself and tell yourself, oh, that's horrible, that's terrible. And also, people, if you're reading with other people or in a group of writers, as someone who's a reader, people who are sitting there listening to you, they don't want to hear you talk yourself down. It's so uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's very uncomfortable.
No, it's really good. No, it isn't. It was good. It really was. No, don't tell me that. It's like, well, I don't know what to say now. And so I want to just like leave, but I don't know how because I'm too polite. Yeah. So I'm just going to sit here and feel weird because you keep talking bad about your poor book.
But if you're like if you're joking about it, you're being sarcastic and fun, now
then we can all
that
just have fun with you.
Yes, that makes you more charismatic, and people like being around a charismatic person.
Right. And it makes it more of a playful experience. Doesn't make it like, plus it adds pressure to other writers. If you're talking to other writers, they're like, oh, well, if you think that's bad, I didn't bring anything to read tonight. My dog ate it, So it also liberates other writers to not be so hard on themselves. And honestly, harsh self-criticism is not self-love. And ultimately, we all need to be more loving people towards others, and starting with ourselves, we need to be more kind.
Yeah. And I think
that was a very thoughtful
my brain was like somewhere else. I did listen to what you're saying though. I agree. I was gonna say that one thing that has given me a lot more confidence in my writing is to detach from identifying with it, which I think is a huge thing that took me a long time to overcome. But when you identify with something you create and then someone criticizes it, or someone like finds something to critique about it, you feel personally attacked.
Yes.
Because
like, now I'm a terrible person just because this thing I wrote is terrible. So basically now suddenly my life has no meaning because I so identify with this thing that I wrote.
Yeah. And
rather than
literally,
this is
it was just a thing that you made.
Yes.
And maybe there was an error, maybe it could have been better in some way, but that doesn't mean that you are a bad writer. It'd be like if you're a professional chef and you accidentally left the chicken in the oven for too long and it's a little bit too dry. Well, you're a terrible cook. Like, it wouldn't be terrible. It would be ridiculous to say to yourself, I'm a terrible cook just because I overcooked the chicken that one time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like, Even if
don't let a momentary thing
it's just a product.
Define your art, define your career, define the next year of your life, define the next week of your life. Don't hold on to those things.
Right.
And so identify with them that you own that.
Right.
It's just a thing, own that piece of criticism.
It's a thing you made.
Right.
And when you detach from it, you then become a better critic of your own writing as well, and a better editor, I find. Because then you can say to yourself, okay, I wrote that. This felt a little bit weird. That you're looking at your own writing almost as a reader. And once you start to see your own writing more objectively, you can be a better editor, and then you can make your writing better, and then you can be a better writer. So it's like it all goes towards a direction of growth and improvement, whereas identifying really closely with your art, with your writing, with anything you create, makes you vulnerable to feeling attacked by others who might be trying to make it better, but they're actually being more objective and logical than you are, because you are tying up your sense of self-worth with how good this product came out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just something you made.
Yeah.
Like very simply put, it's just something you made.
Yeah.
And is it still sacred and wonderful and good and part of who you are? Yeah, totally. But it's just something you made.
Yeah.
It's not you. It is not the embodiment of you. It's not your identity.
Right.
It's not everything you have. It's just something that you made. And so, of course, you'll have emotions toward it, but just try to pull back and remind yourself, hey, if that person criticized it, oh, well. If that person loved it, cool. Whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. Have a direction of growth mindset.
Yeah, exactly. It's very important. Get your writing out there, share, and be encouraged. I think a lot of people wait too long to share their writing. I know that for me, for both of us, when we were both younger, we wrote alternate endings for computer games and shared them on a message board. And we had such fun doing it. I remember you wrote one that was like, wasn't it like 100,000 words long? It was enormously long. This thing was like the size of a book. And she had so many readers reading it and enjoying it. And I had the same experience too. I don't think they were quite as long as that, but it gave us a lot of confidence to be able to just share little bits and pieces. So whether it's something you do just for fun or something you share with a few people, I think you can gain a lot of confidence by feeling like, okay, maybe I'm not ready to publish a book, but I'm ready to publish a little bit of something in some way.
And someone wants to read it. That was always the thing that encouraged me the most and kind of gave me the confidence I needed at that time to continue writing, is like, wow, someone actually likes this. They want to read more of it. Right. And even if it was objectively terrible, they still wanted to read more of it. And that was invaluable to me at the time. And it still is, really. Even if I haven't published something for many readers to read, even if it's something that Katie is reading as I'm writing it, and she's like, I can't wait to read or hear more of that. That gives me this boost of encouragement of, I want to go write more of that, so I can share it with you. I feel like
that's been happening a lot on our current project that we're co-writing. Some of you know this from previous episodes. We've talked about the book that we are co-writing, and it's been really fun because we both kind of look forward to the next chapter. Each of us respectively write, and then we read it to each other, and so it makes it really fun. And we really look forward to it. I'm like, I can't wait for you to write the next chapter.
Yeah.
And it makes it more of a fun, playful process.
Yeah. That's so true. That's another thing that might be a good idea for some listeners, is if you know someone who is a good writing buddy, reach out to them and see if they'd be interested in working on a co-write project with you, because that is a great way to encourage both of you to pick up your pens or go to your laptops and write something, because you have that accountability partner, really.
Yeah.
And I think sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, or even if it's someone in your own family. Yeah. Sometimes we overlook our own families because we're like, oh, well, that's not their genre. That's not this. Sometimes your own spouse or your own kids.
Yeah.
Try reading it to them. See what they think. Just because it's not something that they would normally read, they might have some interesting thoughts and you might be surprised.
Yeah, so true. And another thing that I wanted to add is another thing to remind yourself of if you ever feel like you don't have the confidence to keep going, or if you're finding that you're comparing your writing to a lot of other popular authors that you respect and admire, pull back from that and remind yourself that not everyone can do this. Like literally, just because you uphold these other authors in your mind as they're so much better than me, well, not everyone can write anything. Like, I know we've all had writing assignments probably at some point in our lives, but a lot of people hate writing because they do not have the inherent skill or ideas or desire even to, it is a skill, it is a talent to be able to have ideas and to put them into words. And even if those words aren't perfect or flawless, even if those words aren't award-winning novels yet, they are still something special. It is something that not everyone can do. So remind yourself of that what you're doing is actually, it takes talent, it takes skill. And even if you feel like you're not at the level that you want to be yet, that's okay, because you will get there with practice and with time. But have the confidence and be proud of where you are. Be proud of the fact that you can do something that not everyone can do. Right. And that is special.
That is so true. Yeah, it's important to pull back and realize that, because sometimes we get so wrapped up in just the everyday process that we don't realize how special it is. And it is truly special.
It is. So hopefully you got some good inspiration from this episode, and encouragement, inspiration to keep going and keep writing the book that matters to you and matters to the world.
Speaking of books, I am releasing a new novel October 5th. It's available for pre-order. I'll link that below in the description on the video version of this podcast. I'm holding it up if you're watching the video. I'm really excited about Abbie. Helped to design the cover with me, and she designed all the interior of the paperback. So go grab a pre-order. Pre-order this book, pre-order the copy for you, because I think you're really going to enjoy looking through what we did. It looks pretty aesthetically adorable inside. And be sure to enter the giveaway that only has a few days left. I'm giving away a copy of this book signed and all my books signed, as well as some other goodies. So go enter the giveaway if you haven't already. Make sure you go follow Abbie's channel as well, because she is currently working on a book, top secret still, that is she's going to be releasing. But you don't want to miss when she announces that, because it's going to be really exciting.
Yes, I'm so excited. So yeah, go follow my channel if you don't already, youtube.com/Abbie Emmons. And if you haven't seen the video version of this podcast, you can find that at Kate's YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/KA Emmons. And yeah, all of our content is there. Great content for writers. Go check it all out. Thank you again to our amazing sponsors, our patrons who keep this show going. We love you so much. If you get value out of this podcast, go to patreon.com/The Kate and Abbie Show and help us keep it alive and free of interruptions. Until next week,
stay stoked
and rock on.